Top 10 private engineering colleges. What are the factors that inspire you to join a college? Is it the celebrated name, or the placement percentage, or are you on the lookout for stellar faculty and curriculum? Do you prioritize the sports facilities or the infrastructure? Or is your motivating factor the NIRF ranking or the research funding of the college? Whatever your reason may be, we have got your back. The real showstopper for most students is an attractive salary package considering the significant expenditure in terms of being an engineer. Therefore, it is pertinent to make an informed choice after analyzing the recruiters and the salary package offered by these colleges. In this video, we're looking at the top 10 private engineering colleges that offer a striking salary, graduation, and placement in India according to the NIRF for the year 2021. This year witnessed sensational growth with 110 private colleges being ranked on the NIRF table. Are you thrilled to analyze the top 10 spots among these esteemed private institutes for 2021? Let's dive into unearthing the top-notch private engineering colleges. At number 10 comes Sri Siva Subramaniam Nadar College of Engineering, Kanchipuram. The approved intake for this year at SSN stands at an adequate 900 UG students in 2019. 2020 displayed a figure of 960 UG students and 216 PG students. And this year, it was at an all-time low of 780 UG and 180 PG students. These statistics throw light on the overall student strength of SSN, which is a substantial 4,102 engineering students across all years. In 2019, SSN saw a magnificent 86.02% UG students graduate within the minimum stipulated time. In 2020, it was 84.9%, and in 2021, the graduation percentage was a much reduced 75.51%. Analyzing the placement percentage at SSN in 2019 confers an outstanding 93.09%. 2020 testified to a pronounced 96.7%, and finally 2021 having a phenomenal placement percentage of 97.15%. The place students were offered a fine salary package of 4 lakh per annum in 2019. In 2020, the median salary was 4.4 lakh per annum, and lastly, an increased 5 lakh per annum in 2021 was offered as median salary at SSN to the place students. SSN Kanchipuram has spent more than 3.85 crores as annual capital expenditure in 2019. In 2020, the capital expenses increased to 4.92 crores, and this year observed a capital expenditure that amounted to 5.16 crores. The operational expenditure for 2019 is 89 crores, while 2020 saw an increase, realizing 93 crores, and 2021 saw a commendable escalation to 111 crores as operational expenses. SSN Kanchipuram has scored 66.95% in teaching, learning and resources, 34.56% in research and professional practices, 61.71% in graduation outcomes, 53.48% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 20.65% in perception from the public. Combining all of these scores, SSN Kanchipuram gets an overall score of 50.2% and an NIRF rank of number 45. At the 9th spot, we have the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Bhubaneswar. The approved intake of UG candidates showed a stagnancy in the UG seats across all 3 years at 3,450 seats and a constant 212 PG seats in 2020 and 2021. Over the span of recent years, KIIT Bhubaneswar saw a gigantic number of 14,567 engineering students across all years. The UG section had seen a graduation of 96.94% in both 2019 and 2020, and finally an imposing 97.77% in 2021. The placement percentage at KIIT was a mediocre 71.31% in 2019 and an exemplary 96.16% last year, a breathtaking 98.82% this year. The median annual income each year at KIIT observes a progression from 3.5 lakh per annum in 2019 to 4.2 lakh per annum in 2020 and a loftier 5.2 lakh per annum in 2021. The year 2019 had seen a capital expenditure of 68 crores compared to a higher 86 crores in 2020, and a soaring 122 crores was expended in 2021 at KIIT. The operational expenses amounted to a mammoth 189 crores in 2019. Last year saw an even greater 343 crores in operational expenses. And finally, in 2021, at KIIT, the highest annual operational expenditure of 439 crores was witnessed. Now let's look at the various NIRF parameters. For teaching, learning and resources, KIIT Bhubaneswar has scored 69.99%, 29.98% in research and professional practices, 70.72% in graduation outcomes, 76.68% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 13.24% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 53.12%, ranking number 39 on the NIRF table. At number 8 comes Shanmuga Arts, Science, Technology and Research Academy, Thanjavur. The approved intake in 2019 turns up to 1,860 UG aspirants and 110 PG integrated aspirants. In 2020, there were 1,800 in UG and 100 in PG, and 48 students for the PG integrated category. Finally, 2021 portrays a numerical escalation in UG seats, reaching 1,920. However, stagnancy was maintained with 100 PG and 48 PG integrated seats. Over the span of recent years, Shastra saw a grand total of 7,899 engineering students. The UG section had seen a graduation of 91.15% in 2019, 90.22% in 2020, and 92.98% this year. The placement percentage was 92.48% in 2019, 90.41% last year, and a good 88.11% in 2021. The median annual income at Shastra in 2019 adds up to 3.5 lakh per annum. Both in 2020 and 2021, it was a fine 5 lakh per annum. The year 2019 had seen a capital expenditure of 25 crores. 2020 saw a 51% increase, realizing 53 crores, and in 2021, the capital expenses was the highest, amounting to 59 crores. The operational expenditure at Shastra amounted to 117 crores in 2019, compared to an increased 132 crores in 2020 and a lofty 138 crores in 2021, respectively. Now let's look at the various NIRF parameters. For teaching, learning and resources, Shastra has scored 71.47%, 37.62% in research and professional practices, 67.55% in graduation outcomes, 57.06% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 12.7% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 53.22%, ranking number 38 on the NIRF table. The next institution on the list at number 7 is the SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. The approved intake in 2019 amounts to 4,745 UG aspirants, while 2020 saw an all-time high of 6,000 UG and 930 PG seats. This year witnessed a lower 5,490 UG and 745 PG students. Over the span of recent years, SRM saw an overall student strength, which was a massive 20,717 engineering students. The UG section at SRM had seen a graduation of a whopping 96.2% in 2019, a much reduced graduation percentage of 88.61% in 2020, and this year it was a striking 96.17%. The placement percentage also had an excellent 96.96% in 2019, a sensational 98.18% was placed last year, and 92.46% was the placement percentage in 2021. The median annual income in 2019 was 3.6 lakh per annum. In 2020, it was a slightly reduced 3.5 lakh per annum, and this year marked a median salary of 3.6 lakh per annum. The year 2019 had seen a capital expenditure of 43 crores compared to an escalated 51 crores in 2020 and ultimately an even higher 67 crores that was expended this year. The operational expenditure amounted to 314 crores in 2019 compared to 374 crores in 2020 and a much greater 466 crores as operational expenses in 2021. Now let's look at the various NIRF parameters. For teaching, learning and resources, SRM Chennai has scored 60.31%, 50.91% in research and professional practices, 67.01% in graduation outcomes, 60.9% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 13.24% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 54.17%, ranking number 34 on the NIRF table. Before we proceed to the 6th Premier College, welcome to College Suggest. All the facts mentioned in this video are directly sourced from the data submitted by the college to the NIRF for the 2021 ranking. We will leave the link in the description below. Click on the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive notifications on your favorite college details, college comparisons, courses, careers, and so much more. At number 6, we have the brilliant Siksha O Anusandhan, Bhubaneswar. The year 2019 had an approved intake of 1,260 UG students. 2020 saw a greater 1,860 UG students and 90 PG students. And 2021 eyed an intake of an even higher 2,220 UG students and a consistent 90 PG students. The institution comprises an overall 7,398 engineering students across all years. In the UG program at Siksha O Anusandhan, an excellent 96.25% of students graduated in 2019. In 2020, the figure was a similar 98.85%, and in 2021, the graduation percentage was at 97.96%. The number of students placed at this institution in 2019 is an appreciable 90.87%. In 2020, the placement percentage was a loftier 96.61%, and in 2021, an extraordinary 96.77% of students were placed. The median salary for both 2019 and 2020 was a constant 3.5 lakh per annum, while finally this year saw a slight increase of 3.6 lakh per annum being offered to the placed students. The annual capital expenditure in 2019 for Siksha O Anusandhan was 39 crores. 2020 observed an increase in capital expenses amounting to 47 crores. And in 2021, the capital expenditure was at its highest, which was 59 crores. The year 2019 witnessed an operational expenditure of a splendid 159 crores. In 2020, the operational expenses was a spiraling 190 crores, and a hefty 231 crores was utilized as operational expenses in 2021. Siksha O Anusandhan has scored 75.76% in teaching, learning and resources, 34.28% in research and professional practices, 70.16% in graduation outcomes, 65.14% in outreach and inclusivity, and ultimately 12.15% in perception from the public. With the aid of all of these individual scores, this institution has attained an overall score of 54.77% and climbed up the 32nd rank on the NIRF table. Coming in at number 5, we have Amity University, Gautam Budh Nagar. The institution intakes 1,980 UG and 150 PG integrated students for the year 2019. Last year viewed 1,770 UG, 180 PG and 90 PG integrated students. Finally, 2021 had an approved intake of a slightly lower 1,710 UG, 180 PG and 60 PG integrated students. The institution houses 7,534 students across all years. Delving into the UG program at Amity, a fine 83.79% of students graduated in 2019. 2020 viewed an acceptable 86.59%, and this year the graduation percentage was a satisfactory 87.69%. The number of students placed in 2019 at Amity echoed a minimal 63.95%. A reduced 62.03% was the placement percentage in 2020, and in 2021, the best of the lot, yet a minimal 66.24% of students were placed from Amity. The median salary offered to place students in 2019 stands at 3 lakh per annum. 2020 and 2021 had a median salary of 3.7 lakh per annum granted to place students. The annual capital expenditure of Amity in 2019 bore testament to 7.3 crores. 2020 utilized an annual capital expenditure that amounted to 9.9 crores, and finally 2021 employed a reduced 7.5 crores as capital expenses. The operational expenditure deployed in 2019 was 226 crores. 2020 also observed a slightly increased 229 crores as operational expenses, and a reduced 223 crores was spent in 2021 by Amity as operational expenditure. Amity University has scored 68.46% in teaching, learning and resources, 57.24% in research and professional practices, 52.38% in graduation outcomes, 56.94% in outreach and inclusivity, and lastly 9.87% in perception from the public. The blend of all of these scores confers Amity an overall score of 54.87% and the 31st rank on the NIRF table. At number 4, we have the exceptional Birla Institute of Science and Technology, Pilani. VIT Pilani's UG program in 2019 observed a fixed 2,608 seats, which then increased to 2,779 seats in 2020. In 2021, there was a further escalation to 2,831 UG seats. The PG program saw an increase from 622 seats in 2020 to 664 seats in 2021. The student strength at VIT Pilani is a lofty 11,424 engineering students. In the UG program at BITS, a phenomenal 99.7% of students graduated in 2019. In 2020, the figure was a close 99.07%, and this year the graduation percentage was a breathtaking 99.85%. The number of students placed at BITS Pilani in 2019 was 96.76%. In 2020, the placement percentage was a stellar 98.83%, and in 2021, 94.9% of students were placed. The median salary in 2019 was a stellar 11 lakhs per annum at BITS. Last year, the salary package was a better 12.5 lakh per annum, and this year the placed students were offered a median salary of a striking 14 lakh per annum. The annual capital expenditure in 2019 for BITS Pilani was a fine 37 crores. 2020 observed an escalation with the capital expenses amounting to 58 crores, and in 2021, the capital expenditure was a soaring 101 crores. The year 2019 witnessed an operational expenditure of an appreciable 219 crores at BITS Pilani. In 2020, the operational expenses increased, reaching 254 crores, and a greater 285 crores were utilized as operational expenses in 2021. BITS Pilani has scored 62.96% in teaching, learning and resources, 39.96% in research and professional practices, 79.57% in graduation outcomes, 55.73% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 39.87% in perception from the public. With all of these scores under multiple parameters, BITS Pilani has attained an overall score of 56.35% and has bagged the 26th rank on the NIRF table. Now we're about to unfold the most awaited moment, the ultimate revelation of the top 3 private engineering colleges of the year 2021. At number 3, we have the glorious Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. Thapar has an edge when it comes to the approved intake. 2019 observed 1,625 UG seats. In 2020, this figure escalated to 1,865 UG and 390 PG students. Finally, in 2021, they were at 2,265 UG and 390 PG seats. The renowned Thapar Patiala accommodates a massive 7,535 engineering students across all years. The graduation percentage of Thapar Patiala was a commendable 94.27% in 2019, 91.1% in 2020, and this year was a mind-blowing 100%. Thapar Patiala portrays a placement percentage with 81.25% in 2019, a breathtaking escalation of 99.82% in 2020, and a fair 77.03% in 2021. Thapar Patiala follows a progressive growth of 6.2 lakh per annum in 2019, 6.3 lakh per annum was furnished in 2020, and a higher 8.1 lakh per annum in 2021. Thapar Patiala noted an annual capital expenditure of 12 crores in 2019, a soaring 31 crores in 2020, and in 2021 the capital expenses were a much greater 36 crores. The operational expenditure for Thapar Patiala displayed a harmonious growth with 148 crores in 2019, which saw an escalation of 203 crores last year, and in 2021 it was at a peak of 327 crores. Thapar Patiala has a score of 64.89% in teaching, learning and resources, 51.54% in research and professional practices, 68.52% in graduation outcomes, 56.05% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 25.35% in perception from the public. Regarding all of these individual scores, Thapar Patiala has achieved an overall score of 56.76% and has been ranked at number 23 on the NIRF table. At the second spot, we have the illustrious Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Coimbatore. Amrita intakes a steady 2,100 UG seats in both 2019 and 2020, and this year it escalated to 2,700 UG students. The PG program at Amrita has also witnessed 848 seats in 2020, and this year it was at 972 seats. Considering all of the engineering students across every year, Amrita has an appreciable 10,106 ambitious students for the year 2021. Delving into the UG program, a good 86.37% of students graduated in 2019 from Amrita, while 2020 viewed an appreciable 82.23%, and in 2021 the graduation percentage was at an even higher 89.37%. At Amrita, the number of students placed in 2019 echoed a striking 85.48%, a fine 84.14% was the placement percentage in 2020, and ultimately in 2021, a sensational 90.43% of students were placed from Amrita. The median salary offered to place students at Amrita in 2019 stands at 3.35 lakh per annum. 2020 had a median salary of 4 lakh per annum, and 2021 granted place students at 4.5 lakh per annum. The annual capital expenditure at Amrita in 2019 was 15 crores. 2020 utilized a much elevated annual capital expenditure of 35 crores, and 2021 employed 31 crores as capital expenses, observing a slight de-escalation in funds. The operational expenditure deployed in 2019 at Amrita was an impressive 168 crores, a magnified 194 crores in 2020, and 2021 also observed an increase, realizing 195 crores as operational expenses. Amrita has bagged 69.63% in teaching, learning and resources, 59.01% in research and professional practices, 59.56% in graduation outcomes, 56.68% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 35.04% in public perception. Summing up all of these scores, Amrita Coimbatore has attained an overall score of 59.67% and has been ranked number 16 on the NIRF table. At number 1, we have the phenomenal Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore, which proves time and time again to be the showstopper in the country among all the private engineering colleges. VIT saw 6,883 UG and 660 PG integrated seats in 2019. Last year, there was an even higher 7,140 UG and 2,010 PG, as well as 660 PG integrated seats observed. Ultimately, this year witnessed 7,660 UG, 1,788 PG, and 900 PG integrated seats. VIT has a total student strength, which is a colossal 31,870 engineering students across all years. From the UG program at VIT, a fair 89.14% of students graduated within the minimum stipulated time in 2019. In 2020, the graduation percentage was a fantastic 91.19%, and this year the number of students who graduated stood at a stellar 91.53%. Also, moving on to the placement percentage for VIT, the UG program in 2019 stood at a commendable 80.83%. Last year, the number of students placed was at 80.6%. And finally, in 2021, VIT observed a reduced placement percentage of 76.08%. The median salary offered at VIT in 2019 was an appreciable 5.2 lakhs per annum. In 2020, placed students were presented with 5.5 lakhs per annum, and the median salary in 2021 was an even greater 6.5 lakhs per annum. VIT has spent over 48 crores in 2019 as annual capital expenditure. The capital expenses in 2020 was a higher 51 crores, and this year the capital expenditure amounted to a mammoth 76 crores. Simultaneously, the operational expenditure for VIT in 2019 was an exciting 539 crores, while 2020 saw an excellent operational expenditure amounting to 590 crores. And in 2021, the operational expenses saw further escalation, resulting in a phenomenal 611 crores. VIT has scored 61.41% in teaching, learning and resources, 69.7% in research and professional practices, 67.01% in graduation outcomes, 59.84% in outreach and inclusivity, and 49.73% in perception from the public. With these stunning scores, VIT has an overall score of 63.68% and has been ranked at number 12 on the NIRF table. Now let us dive into a short and sweet analysis of where the colleges stand on various parameters. Considering all the institutions, Vellore Institute of Technology has the highest overall student strength. When we look at the graduation percentage of all of the colleges, the one that tops the list is undoubtedly the Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology with a phenomenal 100%, depicting excellence in churning out more brilliant engineering candidates. Delving into the placement stats, the unparalleled winner is Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology with a sensational 98.82% when it comes to placements, highlighting the institution's efforts to place all eligible students. Birla Institute of Science and Technology is a showstopper when it comes to the median salary package offered to the placed students, which is a mammoth 14 lakhs per annum. When it comes to capital expenses, Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology is an absolute beauty. Simultaneously, for operational expenses, Vellore Institute of Technology is a surefire champion. There you have it, all the nitty-gritties about the top 10 private engineering colleges. Each of these engineering colleges grants a unique experience, enabling its students to embrace world-class technical education. Soon we will upload a detailed comparison review of these top institutions and many other top 10 institutions in the various segments of our upcoming videos. What other interesting top 10s would you like to see? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video, do give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and for more information, visit us at collegesuggest.com.